All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here on the Harmless Dave channel, talking about real music and doing it in real time for a few real people out here, just like you and just like me. All right, I guess we finally get the truth with the whole REO Speedwagon debacle. All right, we're going to get some truth finally and the real reason for this band breaking up. Before I get to that, here is a band you should check out if you haven't. They're called the Wilder Blue. If you're a fan of Poco or the Eagles or stuff that sounds like that. In fact, there's one track on here. It's called Feelin' the Miles, which is reminiscent of a Fleetwood Mac type of song. The rest of it, though, is more country rock oriented, but these guys have a lot of different surprises as far as their musical tendencies. So again, the Wilder Blue, you can't really go wrong with it unless you just don't like this particular genre. All right, so Kevin Cronin did an interview on KSHE or KSHE. I believe that's a radio station out in St. Louis. I may be wrong. During the chat, the guitarist talked about Hall's surgery. Talking about Bruce Hall here, not Daryl Hall. And the statements he made about the band. He says here, Bruce needed surgery bad. And back surgery is a tough thing. Now, keep in mind, Cronin himself just got out of the hospital not too long ago. So, does he empathize with Bruce Hall? I guess so. He says, I feel for Bruce. He and I played in the band together for 47 years. He was part of every side project that I ever did. Bruce and I were really tight, and I'm sad about how this has happened and how it's played online. Now, what Cronin is doing here is he's throwing everybody online under the bus because everybody decided to kind of bash Kevin Cronin to some degree, and I've been calling this like I've been seeing it. I've just been trying to find out, okay, why break up REO Speedwagon? Why ditch the name? Cronin goes on to say, there's been a lot of inaccurate and hurtful statements that have come out. I've chosen to kind of keep my mouth shut until this week, really. So it's sad in one sense. Now, notice what he's doing here. He's not getting to the point. Kevin, get to the point. He says it's sad in one sense, and it's extremely exciting in another sense because I've kind of never heard my songs or Gary Richrath's songs played at this level, and it just accidentally happened. Okay. So what he's saying here is this is just incredible. So he's never heard his songs or Gary's songs played at this level, meaning right now. And then the next sentence says, Matt Bissonette was just going to sub in for Bruce for a while, but Bruce's surgery ended up being a major surgery. So it is what it is right now, and we're moving forward. All right, so do you want me to translate that for you? I'm going to translate. So Bruce Hall was not a very good bass player. All right, and now this is my translation of what Kevin Cronin just said here. And what he said was really inaccurate and insensitive. So these songs weren't played at a super high level 40 years ago, Kevin, with Bruce being in the band. Bruce Hall, by the way, replaced the original bass player, whose last name is Philbin, first name, not Regis. I can't think of his first name, but he passed away a couple of years ago. And I think Kevin Cronin took to whatever platform to say how, yeah, he was an interesting bass player, but he really didn't fit what we were trying to do. He was kind of like a John Entwistle type, and we were looking for something different. So they replaced him with Bruce Hall, who's been the bass player apparently for 47 years, according to this article. So Kevin Cronin is saying that when Matt Bissonette took over for Bruce Hall, that his songs and Gary's songs were played at a level that he's never heard before. Now, I'm sorry, folks. I'm kind of old. I was there when High Infidelity came out. I was following this band probably on the Nine Lives album too, which the album cover is a little scary, but the music inside is pretty good. And I can tell you with a fair amount of certainty that this band does not sound at all like it used to in the days where it was Bruce and Gary and Kevin and Neil and Alan. Nowhere near that level. And if anyone thinks the band sounds better right now than it did in those days, just go back and watch some footage and listen to the music itself, and you're going to find that like almost every band today in the classic rock world that is hanging on to one original member or maybe even zero original members, you're going to find that the REO Speedwagon of 1981 is a much better band than the REO Speedwagon of 2024. So Bruce has the surgery, and the agreement is Bruce is supposed to come back. Kevin hears Matt Bissonette and says, no, I don't want Bruce back. Matt is playing at a level. Now, he's the bassist, right? He's not lead guitarist Matt Bissonette. So his bass playing apparently is light years better than Bruce Hall, according to that little statement. Now, he doesn't say any of that. But he says the next sentence, Matt Bissonette was just going to sub in for Bruce for a while. But Bruce was gone for a while, and I realized how great Matt is, and I'm not giving up Matt Bissonette. And so the other guys who hold a stake in this band said, wait a minute, Kevin. You can't call it REO Speedwagon anymore. You just can't do that. You should let Bruce back in, do a farewell tour, and then just call it a career. But Kevin Cronin, my guess is on that end of things, Kevin Cronin did not want to call it a career. Now, it's amazing how much gas in the tank these folks believe they still have. I would say Kevin Cronin is probably running on fumes as a singer. Maybe a little bit more, that needle is slightly above the E. It's not completely right on the line or anything like that, but it's pretty close. Depending on the night you see REO Speedwagon, although people, they'll send me messages and they'll be like, yeah, I went to see REO Speedwagon. And so what I'll do is I'll play the footage from 2024, and then I'll go watch something from the 80s or the 70s with REO Speedwagon, and it's like two different bands. Yeah, the music kind of sounds similar. The key is a little different most of the time. You'll notice that right away, and you don't even have to have a really good ear for that stuff. You're just going to say, this sounds sluggish, or it doesn't sound... It just, something about it is wrong. And then you go back and you listen to live versions from the good old days, and you'll think to yourself, wow, this band was just on fire in whatever year, up until probably Gary left. That band was pretty much on fire. Today, not so much. So anyway, the truth here is Kevin Cronin thinks that Matt Bissonette is a better bass player than Bruce Hall, and thus he'd rather go out as Kevin Cronin and his band than keep the REO Speedwagon name and allow Bruce Hall back into the band. Can I just say, without sounding mean, that is just a shame? It's just tragic. Even if this is true, even if Bissonette is miles ahead of Bruce Hall as a bassist, which I don't think he is, but he might be. I don't know. I guess I need some bass players to talk to me about this. But the bottom line is that to honor the legacy of the band, you have Bruce come back, right? And, Neil just quit too. So they have a different keyboard player. So apparently maybe Neil was dragging the band down too. I don't know. But he mentions Matt Bissonette here specifically. And so I think that's where the issue is more than any other position. But everybody has been replaced in this band except for Kevin Cronin. And that's happened before. Kevin has been replaced in REO Speedwagon. It was a very long time ago, and people might not remember that, but he was replaced, and then he came back. So bottom line here is it's a disagreement between Cronin and Bruce Hall, but it has to do with Bruce's bass playing. Yeah, he's 100% ready to go. The classy thing would have been to just end with Bruce in the band. Especially after the guy goes through all of that, gets back, is able to stand up again, is able to play, and no, sorry, Bruce, we don't want you back in. Think of that for a moment. That's just not a good way to end things. All right, folks, so I'm going to end this video, and I'm just going to plug this again one more time. It's the Wilder Blue. Go look it up. Go check it out. I think you'll like these guys. This is kind of like the next generation of bands like the Eagles and Poco, and some things that you might connect it to. Like I say, there's one track on here. Sounds a lot like a Fleetwood Mac song. And they do that every so often, which makes their music very interesting. Also, folks, again, Patreon and Buy Me a Coffee if you want to support this channel as I try to rebuild the number of subs I had over on the other channel. It's going to take years to do that, but I'm back. And, once I have enough watch time, who knows? Maybe things will just be better than they were the last time. But I'm going to keep trying, folks. I want to thank everybody for some of the kind things that I've seen out there written. And I will continue to check those things out. And there are still a few folks that are just, I don't know how to categorize them, but I'm trying to just play it straight here and be Harmless Dave. All right. So the Harmless Dave persona, I'm going to really try to work on it. And I'm going to be even more harmless than I was before. So again, thanks. God bless. And I will see you soon.